All your evil tricks and manipulation stops tonight. I'm telling my wife everything, and as soon as I walk out of that room, I don't want to see you here." Just then, Sochi walked into the room drying her hands with a towel. "Tell me what?" she asked slowly. Sparkles spoke first, rubbing her stomach with pride. "Tell you that I am now a part of this family. We're having a baby." "What?" Dee shouted in shock. "How? Just that once?" Sochi stepped back, confused and stunned. "Wait, Dee, you knew her?" Sparkles smiled. "Yes, he knows me in very special ways." Dayo, popularly called Dee by everyone who knew him, thought that being a father was the most fulfilling thing ever. I mean, his job was good. He made good money. But you see, the joy of becoming someone's daddy, it was something he had looked forward to all his life. If there was one thing he asked God for incessantly, it was for him to never sweat, pray, and fast non-stop to have his own child. He watched his parents deal with all that, and it was not a pleasant experience. Yet, they were still unable to have another child after him. This baby wahala was Dayo's biggest fear in life. Luckily for Dee, God answered his prayers, and just a few months after his marriage to Sochi, the absolute love of his life, she became pregnant. Nothing could have made Dee happier. His heart was filled with joy. The day Sochi broke the news to him, he felt like his heart would explode. He lifted her in his arms, spinning her around until they both fell to the ground, laughing happily. They were both happy. But to be sincere, I think Dee was the happiest of the both. He just could not wait to begin the most exciting journey of his life. Sochi, his wife, owned a big women's store in Lagos Market where she sold everything a woman needed to be a woman. Luxury perfumes, hair extensions, wigs, original turkey clothes, expensive jewelries, designer bags and shoes, everything. However, as soon as the pregnancy was confirmed, Dee insisted that she took a break from her business. Mind you, not in a toxic way. It was truly coming from a place of genuine love. But Sochi did not agree. "I cannot put a hold on my business, Dee, just because I'm pregnant," she said. "I'm not saying you should shut down entirely," Dee argued. "All I'm saying is that you take a break till you give birth. Omolara can handle sales at the store," he pleaded. Sochi shook her head. "This is not realistic. Dee, I cannot leave my business in the hands of Omolara. She has worked with me for years, but still, I cannot just leave like that." They were both silent for a while. Then Sochi touched his hand gently. "What are you so worried about, Dee? This is just pregnancy. It's not some sort of sickness. I can still do the things I used to do. It's not a big deal." Dee looked her in the eyes. "This is a big deal for me. Baby, this is not just pregnancy, and it's different for every woman. My mother battled miscarriages for years until she reached menopause. I'm not saying that you will go through the same thing. I just want to make sure that I care for you in the best way that I can, and make sure that nothing puts you under any form of stress." "I understand," Sochi said calmly. "I really understand. But you know how I struggled to build that business. I trust Omolara, but I don't trust those other girls, and I can't close either. I'll lose customers. Please understand, Dee. Dee's eyes suddenly lit up. I have an idea. Since most of your customers are online, I think you can just focus on those online customers for now. Molara can sort the others as usual. The only difference is that you can work from home and I will help in any way I can. Just let me know when to come in. Sachi was not too thrilled with the idea, but she saw how much this meant to her husband, and so she agreed. How bad can it be? Molara and Sachi started working from home and temporarily closed down the store. The idea was not as bad as Sachi thought it would be. In fact, her offline customers were forced to start making orders online too. Business was still going well. She was happy. Dee was happy too. It was a win-win situation for the both of them. The first few weeks of Sachi's pregnancy was seamless. There was no vomiting, no tiredness. She was fine, just as she had always been, but even better. She glowed. Her beauty became more captivating. But even at that, Dee pampered his wife, made sure she ate right, slept right, got whatever it is that she wanted. He was never one to stay out late normally, except it was for work. But now, he became even more intentional about being home early. His colleagues at work would often tease him and say, "This man, why are you always in a hurry to go home?" And his response was always, "I beg, I have a pregnant wife to take care of." Dee was so sure that he was ready to do this. And this he did with his whole heart. Things were going very smoothly until Sachi hit the second trimester. That was when the whole wahala started. First, Sachi suddenly started becoming extremely emotional. She cried over the smallest things. One day, Dee returned home from work to meet his wife in the kitchen, crying her eyes out. It was the first time he would see her that way, and he was worried. He ran to her side. "What's wrong, baby? Why are you crying?" Sachi burst into heavy sobs. "Thank God you are home, Dee. You won't believe what happened today. I was hungry and brought out the soup from the freezer. It was frozen and has refused to defrost. And then I decided to eat biscuits. But then I opened the pack and everything poured on the ground. That was how Jack rushed my biscuits and ate it all. He ate it all, Dee. Why would he do such a thing to me? Why would a dog eat biscuits? Now everything is finished." Dee took a deep breath. "So, if I understand you well, you are crying because your soup refused to defrost and the dog ate your biscuits." Sachi nodded firmly and Dee smiled. "Firstly, you should have put the soup in the microwave. It's what you usually do. And the dog was just being a dog. Don't worry, I'll buy you more biscuits on my way back from work tomorrow." Sachi smiled and wiped her tears, and that was the end. But then, that was just the beginning of many more premium tears to come. If a plate broke, Sachi cried. If the dog looked at her somehow, she cried. If things did not go the way she planned, she cried. If her clothes did not fit her body the way they used to, she cried again. Anything and everything became a reason to cry. Dee lost count of how many times he had to say sorry in one day. But still, he didn't get angry. In fact, he found it funny most of the time. He just blamed it on pregnancy hormones. But then, nothing prepared him for what came next. The strange cravings. Sochi suddenly wanted to eat the most unbelievable things. And to make things worse, Dee was the one who had to cook them. One morning, she said she wanted okra soup and white rice for breakfast. Another day, she asked for fried eggs cooked with palm oil. The list was long and confusing. Then came the day she wanted party jollof rice. Dee was happy that day because at least that sounded like normal food. He stood up quickly and went to the kitchen to cook. But Sochi shook her head seriously and said, "Dee, I don't want the one you cooked." Dee was surprised. "Oh, okay, you want me to buy it from a fast food restaurant?" She shook her head again. Dee sighed. "Okay, so where do I get it from? You don't want me to cook it, and you don't want me to buy it. Where should I get it?" Sochi gave him that soft begging look and said, "I want real party jollof rice, the one they serve at actual parties." Dee blinked. "But there's no party happening near us. We don't even know anyone celebrating anything." And right there, Sochi started crying again. "I'm hungry, Dee. That's the only thing baby wants to eat. Do you think I like this? Or do you think I'm disturbing you?" Then she paused and looked at him sadly and whispered, "You think I'm disturbing you, right?" And just like that, fresh tears began to pour again. Dee did not want another crying marathon, so he spent the next 30 minutes calming her down and convincing her that she was not disturbing him. The next thing he knew, he was out of the house with a food flask, driving around town looking for a party where he could beg for some jollof rice. Finding a party wasn't the hard part. The hard part was explaining himself to the people serving food. After going to 4 different parties and talking to plenty aunties and mamas in charge of food, Dee finally got a plate of jollof rice. It was the most embarrassing day of his life, but he survived. Sochi was happy when she saw the rice. She smiled brightly and quickly finished everything in the flask. Dee just watched her in silence, wondering what new drama was waiting for him tomorrow. Things got harder. Sochi was getting heavier. She said the smell of cooking made her feel sick, so she stopped cooking completely. Dee had to wake up very early to cook breakfast for both of them. He also prepared lunch for her to eat while he was at work. Then when he came back tired in the evening, he would still cook dinner. It was too much. Dee was always tired, but he never complained. He did all that happily. But the problem was that he wanted to sleep. All he wanted was to sleep through the night, but that was not possible. Nighttime was when Sochi wanted everything. Back massage, foot rub, tummy rub, shoulder rub, anything to keep him awake with her. And no matter how tired Dee was, he did not dare complain. He knew if he said anything, the next thing would be tears again. One night around 2:30 a.m., Sochi woke him up. "Babe, please, I'm hungry. Can you help me make palm oil rice? The taste is right at the tip of my tongue." Dee looked at the time and sighed. "Baby, I just slept an hour ago. I'm really tired. I can't cook rice at 2:30 a.m. Can't you eat some peanuts or drink juice? Then in the morning, I'll cook your rice." Sochi started crying instantly. "I knew it. You are tired of me. You just don't want to say it. But it's not my fault, Dee. It's the baby." And once again, Dee was in the kitchen cooking palm oil rice. But you know the painful part? By the time the food was ready and served, Sochi was already fast asleep. By then, it was almost 4:30 a.m. Dee held the tray of food, wondering if he should just wake her up and insist that she ate the food, or just let her be. He chose the latter, if not for anything, for his peace of mind. He did not bother going back to sleep. It was pointless, since it was already morning. He just went ahead to have his bath and got ready for work. That day at work and many other days to come, staying awake was a big struggle. He hadn't had a good night's sleep in over 3 months. And weekends? Forget it. That was when Sochi had all her projects lined up for him. From grocery runs to delivering goods that would have been easily handled by a delivery person, to fixing this, moving that, she always had something planned for him. Sometimes, Dee honestly wished he could just disappear, run away, hide somewhere, anywhere. But he was not that kind of man. All he truly wanted was a chance to sleep, and he would be just fine. That chance finally came. Dee worked for an IT company as a software developer. One day, the company picked a few of their top developers to attend a 2-day advanced training program in Abuja. Dee made the list. It was the best news he had heard in a long time. He wanted to dance, scream, maybe do a backflip even. It was the best news ever. He nearly danced all the way home. But as a wise man now, he did not need to look too happy as he broke the news to his wife. In fact, he looked like he was going to cry. Baby, I wish I didn't have to go. I won't be at peace knowing you are here alone, stressing yourself. How will you cope? Sochi was now the one rushing to comfort him. I'll be fine, Dee. Omolara will stay with me so I won't be alone. Don't worry. Please don't be too hard on yourself. I'll be fine. That was all Dee needed to hear. Ah, isn't the Lord wonderful? He whispered in his heart. Sochi helped him pack. He was to travel early Friday morning. The training was for Friday and Saturday, and they would return on Sunday morning. As Dee packed his bag, all he could think about was sleep. Peaceful, uninterrupted, long sleep. Then morning came. Dee was dressed, bags packed. He was ready to fly. And then his phone rang. It was his boss. Dayo, I'm so sorry. The training has been postponed till further notice. The organizers have some internal issues. But don't worry, you can take the day off. See you on Monday. The call ended. Just like that. Dee stood there, frozen. All his dreams, his hopes, his plans in the dream. His heart broke. So this is how his sleep was cancelled. He didn't even know what to say or do. Just then, Sochi walked into the room, her face tight. Dee, you didn't help me deliver those items as promised this weekend. But I know it's because of your trip. I guess I'll have to call the delivery guy. Oh, and the kitchen tap is still leaking. I thought you'd fix it before you traveled. And I really wanted your special pancakes this morning, and my feet are killing me. I think I need a good massage. And she kept going on and on and on. Dee wasn't listening anymore. He shook his head. I can't stay here this weekend, he told himself. There was no way he was going to miss this rare chance to rest. Even if the training was cancelled, he would still pack his bag and step out like a man going for a major project, then go somewhere quiet. And that was exactly what he did. Dee booked a ride just like he had planned. But instead of going to the airport, he told the driver to take him to a fine hotel in the heart of Lagos. He kept looking out of the window, smiling quietly to himself. Finally, peace. But at some point, he started to feel guilty. He had not had any need to lie to his wife before, He hoped this one did not count as lying. As soon as he reached the hotel, his phone rang. Guess who it was? Sochi. "Hey babe, I just got to the airport," he said, trying to sound tired. "Ah, D, you won't believe what happened. I wish you didn't have to go. The lights just suddenly went off and the delivery guy called in sick. Mrs. Jegede wants her bag delivered immediately, and the worst part is that I'm urgently craving white rice and fish stew. I'm so tired." D exhaled. If he had been feeling guilty, this was enough to take away every single guilt he was feeling. Listen babe, call the electrician to come fix the lights. Then as for the delivery, have Omolara do it if it's that urgent, and there's still some fish stew left in the freezer. All you have to do is defrost, boil rice and eat. "Yeah," Sochi responded calmly. "I guess that should work." "Alright, safe journey my love," she said warmly. D blew her a kiss and entered the call, walked into the hotel, booked his room, took the elevator up, entered the room, threw his bag on the floor, jumped onto the bed and passed out immediately. By the time he woke up, it was evening. He stretched, yawned and smiled. There was nothing to do, and for once that was exactly what he wanted. He got dressed, went downstairs and headed to the bar to relax and have a drink. He sat alone just chilling, enjoying the peace and quiet. Then, out of nowhere, this lady walked up to him. She was very beautiful with a bright smile. "Hi," she said. "Do you mind if I sit here?" D smiled politely. "Sure, go ahead." She sat down gracefully and said, "My name is Sparkles." "Nice name," D said, chuckling. "I'm D." And then they began to chat lightly. D was friendly, but he made sure to keep it respectful. He did not want to give anyone any wrong signal. But Sparkles was not the type to be easily swayed, especially when she was on a mission. She looked at him carefully. "I saw you check into this hotel today," she said, "and I also heard you on the phone telling someone that you were at the airport. So tell me, who are you hiding from?" D blinked. "Wait, you overheard my call?" Sparkles nodded with a smile, sipping her drink. D shook his head and laughed a little. "It's not what you think. That was my wife. Yes, I'm married and I love her very much." Sparkles sighed, raising an eyebrow. D laughed. He knew she still didn't believe him. "I promise, it's really not what you think. My wife is pregnant. She depends on me to do every single thing, even the things I'm sure she can handle. Sometimes she wants semo and egusi at 1 a.m., palm oil rice by 2 a.m., and sometimes I go through the stress of preparing the meal, and then she has either lost her appetite or has gone to sleep. I have not had a good night's sleep in months, and it's affecting my work. Look, it's not like I'm complaining. In fact, I'm happy to be a part of this journey. But at some point, a man needs to rest. I'm here just so that I can get some sleep." Sparkles listened carefully, then burst out laughing. "So you ran away from home just to sleep?" "Yes." D laughed too. "That's all I want." They both kept talking and laughing like they had known each other for years. One conversation led to another. They talked about work, life, food, shared funny marriage stories. They ended up having dinner together at the hotel restaurant. It was almost midnight before they said their goodbyes and went back to their separate rooms. But even though D was finally free to sleep, he could not sleep. He lay in bed thinking about Sochi. He missed her and wondered what she was doing, if she had eaten, if she was okay. But more than that, he was restless. It had been 6 whole months since he touched his wife. Not because she wasn't beautiful anymore. In fact, she was glowing with pregnancy. But Sochi was never in the mood. If it wasn't her back hurting, it was her head or her waist, or she was just too tired. At some point, Dee stopped trying. He told himself it was all part of the pregnancy journey. That night, he spent a long time in the shower, trying to calm his body and mind. He did not sleep until early morning, and it was already midday when he woke up. But it wasn't even the sun that woke him up. It was a knock on the door. Dee got up and opened the door, and there stood Sparkles, smiling brightly, holding a bottle of wine. She looked radiant, but the way she dressed made Dee feel very uncomfortable. Her clothes were short and tight, showing off everything. His mind told him to ask her to leave, but he didn't want to sound rude, so he let her in. What Dee did not know was that Sparkles had her own carefully orchestrated plans. They ordered food, ate lunch together, opened the wine, began to drink. They talked and laughed, ordered more drinks, and drank some more. They didn't realize how much time had gone by, or even how much wine he had taken, until his head started feeling light. He was drunk to stupor. Sparkles wasn't drunk. She had him exactly where she wanted him. She was watching him closely, waiting for the right moment. And then she saw it. She took a chance. She began to flirt, touching his arms, leaning in closer, whispering softly into his ears. Dee was in a weak state of mind. He was tired, lonely, and emotionally charged. It did not take much to seduce him. Before he knew what was happening, he gave in. And just like that, the devoted husband, the man who loved his wife, did what he had sworn never to do. Dee woke up very early the next morning. The moment he opened his eyes and saw where he was and who was beside him, his heart sank. He sat up quickly, looking around the hotel like someone who had just woken up from a nightmare. He couldn't believe what he had done. Shame and regret filled his heart. Tears filled his eyes. "What have you done, Dee?" he asked himself silently. He quietly got out of bed, avoiding any noise that could wake Sparkles, picked up his clothes and went straight into the bathroom to get dressed. By the time Sparkles would wake up, he wanted to be as far away from there as possible. He packed his bag in silence, checked out of the hotel, and disappeared. On his way home, his mind was deeply troubled. The guilt was almost too heavy to bear. He knew what he had done was wrong. Very wrong. Very, very wrong. Just one lie had become something else entirely. He started to regret going ahead with what he now thought of as a cursed trip. There and then, he told himself that he would tell Sochi the whole truth and what he had done in the hotel as soon as he reached home. But the moment he got home and saw her swollen feet, tired face, and warm smile, his courage melted. Sochi was surprised to see him. "Dee, you're back already," she exclaimed excitedly. Dee forced a smile. "Yes, I missed you so much. I had to leave very early." He tried to act normal, but Sochi could sense something wasn't right. She watched him carefully as he moved around the house, like a man carrying heavy load. But then she assumed he was just tired. Later that morning, he sat her down in the living room and held her hands. "Baby," he began slowly, "I just want you to know that I love you with all my heart. I know I'm not perfect, but I will never intentionally do anything to hurt you. You and this baby mean the world to me. Soji's eyes narrowed. Dee, what's going on? Did something happen during your trip? He shook his head quickly, avoiding her eyes. No, nothing happened. He said, I just missed you too much. That's all. Soji stared at him for a moment. She still felt something was wrong, but she did not want to push too hard. She hugged him gently and said, I love you too, Dee. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Sparkles had just woken up. She reached out to touch the bed. There was no one there. It was cold and empty. She sat up quickly, confused. Dee? She called out. There was no answer. She got out of bed and looked around the room. His things were gone. No clothes, no shoes, no notes, nothing. Her smile slowly turned to anger. What nonsense is this? She shouted. She stormed around the room like a wild wind, kicking the sheets, knocking over the wine bottle. He had left her just like that. The worst part was that she had no phone number, no email, no address, no way to reach him. All she had was his name. But Sparkles was not the type to give up. I'll find you, Dee. You think you can just use me to satisfy your needs and dump me? She whispered to herself, you're exactly my kind of man, and married or not, I won't let you go that easily. Weeks had passed since Dee came back from his weekend getaway. Life had returned to normal on the outside. But inside, Dee was still fighting with guilt. It tormented him in his dreams every night. Every time he looked at his wife's face, every time she smiled or held his hand, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. He had done something terrible, and even though no one knew, he knew, and that was enough to keep him restless. Then, one quiet afternoon, he sat in his desk in the office, working, very busy. His phone vibrated. A WhatsApp message came in from an unknown number. He opened it and it said, "You can't get rid of me that easily." Dee's heart skipped a beat. His hands began to shake as he tapped on the sender's profile picture. It was her, Sparkles, smiling brightly, looking as confident and dangerous as ever. Dee's whole body went cold. Fear gripped him. Sweat poured from his face. He quickly locked the phone and ignored the message. But Sparkles did not stop. Every day she sent him new messages. Sometimes she just said hi. Other times it was, "We need to talk." Sometimes she sent love emojis or pictures of herself, nude pictures of herself. Dee never replied any of them, and she did not stop. It got to a point he blocked her number, but somehow she messaged him again, this time from a different number. One afternoon at work, Dee was in his office when his secretary walked in. "Sir, someone is here to see you. She says she's an old friend." Dee was fully immersed in what he was doing and did not pay much attention. "A friend?" He wasn't expecting anyone. "Send her in," he said finally. The door opened and there she was. His worst nightmare, Sparkles, looking stunning, standing boldly in front of him. Dee's eyes widened in shock. "You?" he said, standing up. She smiled sweetly and walked in like she owned the place. "Miss me, Dee." Dee's jaw clenched. "What are you doing here? How did you even find me?" Sparkles laughed and sat on the chair in front of him. "You think you could disappear just like that? Please, I always get what I want. There are 1,000,001 ways to kill a rat." Dee was furious now. Sparkles, listen to me. What happened between us was a mistake, a big one. It should never have happened. I am married, happily married, and I love my wife. Please, just stay away from me. Sparkles' smile dropped. Oh, so I was just a mistake. A mistake you seemed to enjoy so much. Dee looked her in the eyes. No, a mistake I regret deeply. Her eyes narrowed. I did not hear the regret in your voice when I was riding you. All I heard was the sound made by a man who was thoroughly enjoying himself. Dee sighed deeply as he rubbed his forehead. What do you want from me, Sparkles? She smiled coyly. Now you're asking the right question. She came closer. I want you, Dee. You are just the kind of man I've always dreamed of. Kind, funny, intentional. I can do for you the things your wife could never do. Dee's face hardened. Don't you dare talk about my wife, he snapped. Look, I will not stand here and make excuses for myself. I put myself into this mess, and I pray for God to forgive me every single day. But if you for 1 second think I'll make that mistake again, then you must be delusional. I want you out of my office, and I never want to see you again. There was a moment of silence. Then Sparkles squared her shoulders, her eyes full of anger. You regret this, Dee. You don't just use me and throw me away. You have no idea what I'm capable of. She stormed out of his office, her heels clicking loudly against the floor. Dee sat down and buried his face in his hands. His worst fear was slowly coming to life. He knew that this wasn't over, not by a long shot. That evening, Dee came home from work, tired and still tense from the visit. But as soon as he stepped inside, he saw Sochi crying on the couch. His heart jumped. Has Sparkles come here? Has she said something? Did he tell her? He thought to himself. Fear gripped him. He rushed to her side, trying to act calm. Babe, what's wrong? Why are you crying? He asked gently. Sochi wiped her tears, sniffed and said, It's Omolara. She just told me she's resigning. She's moving to another city with her husband. I don't even know what to do. There's so much work here. What do I do now, Dee? Dee let out a long breath of relief. Thank God, that was all, he said in his mind. He smiled a little. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. See, let's post ads online. Social media is very powerful, and considering the number of people in search of a job, in less than 24 hours, someone with good experience will show up. Sochi nodded slowly and wiped her tears, while Dee helped her set up the ads on her business Instagram, Facebook, X, and WhatsApp. That night, Dee went to bed but could not sleep. His body was tired, but his mind wouldn't rest. He kept thinking about Sparkles showing up at his office and wondering what she might be planning next. Even though she hadn't messaged him since then, something told him that she was up to something. He thought about telling Sochi the truth about everything. Maybe if he told her, he would be free in his heart. But then, fear whispered, what if she leaves you? What if she doesn't forgive you? What happens to your home? And so once again, he chose to keep quiet. The next day, Dee came home from work and met Sochi, super excited. She was glowing, almost jumping up and down. "Dee, guess what?" she shouted before he could even take off his shoes. "You were right. It's not even up to 24 hours yet, and I already got the perfect assistant. Her qualifications are unbelievable, and she's so professional. I really like her." Dee smiled, happy to see his wife in such a good mood. "That's great," he said. "So, when does she start?" "Oh, she started immediately," Sochi said, smiling excitedly like someone who had won the lottery. "In fact, she's still here. I think you should meet her." "Okay, where is she?" "She's waiting right there in the living room. I told her you'd want to say hello." So Dee walked into the living room and froze. Sitting on the couch, smiling sweetly, legs crossed, and calm like she owned the place, was Sparkles. His worst nightmare again, under his roof. His face turned pale. His chest felt tight. He quickly turned to Sochi and whispered, "Come, I need to talk to you now." They stepped aside into the hallway. "You have to fire her," he said seriously. "Right now. Please." Sochi looked confused. "What? Why? What did she do?" Dee struggled to find words. "My spirit just doesn't accept her." Sochi blinked, surprised. "That's your reason?" "Dee, come on. She's been so helpful already. She cooked, cleaned, sorted out all my orders. I don't understand. Why would you want me to fire her?" Dee sighed. This wasn't a fight he could win today. Pushing the matter would only make her suspicious, so he let it go. "Okay, fine," he said finally. "If she's who you want, that's fine." The next few days were a nightmare for Dee. He tried to act normal, smile normal, eat normal, laugh normal, but inside he was living in fear. Sparkles was everywhere when he was home. The weekends were worse. She followed him around the house with her eyes, brushing against him on purpose, whispering things under her breath. She was always watching him. She'd bend close while passing him in the kitchen, or smile too long while handing him a glass of water. Dee warned her many times, "Stay away from me, and stay away from my family." But she would just smile and say, "I'm family now, Dee, and I am going nowhere." Those words drove him mad every single time. To make it worse, Sochi could not stop praising her. "Oh, Sparkles is so sweet. She's fast, smart, respectful. She even massaged my feet yesterday. I don't know what I'll do without her." Every word felt like a slap to Dee's face. He knew now that he was in serious trouble. Normally, Dee was not the type to share personal issues with anyone, but this matter was too big for him to handle alone. He felt like he was going to lose his mind. He decided to open up to his very close friend and colleague at work, Femi, one day at the office. When Femi heard the full story, he was shocked. "You, Dee, caught up in this kind of mess? I'm surprised though." Dee nodded sadly. "I don't even know how it happened, Femi, and I'm not proud of it. All I need now is a way to sort this thing out." Femi shook his head. "Guy, you need to tell Sochi the truth though. Now, see, there is no way to sort it out. Don't wait for Sparkles, or whatever her name is, to do it for you. If she gets too desperate and speaks first, it will be even worse." Dee knew Femi was right, and so that evening he returned home, determined, very determined, to tell Sochi everything. As soon as he stepped into the house, Sparkles rushed to meet him, her usual coy smile on her face, and her hands already all over him. "Dee," she said sweetly, touching his chest. He looked around quickly. "Where's my wife?" he asked, his heart beating fast. Sparkles giggled. "Relax. She's in the bathroom having a bath. We can even do a quick one before she comes out." Dee snapped and grabbed her hands firmly, glaring at her. "Sparkles, this nonsense ends today. All your evil tricks and manipulation stops tonight. I'm telling my wife everything, and as soon as I walk out of that room, I don't want to see you here." Just then, Sochi walked into the room drying her hands with a towel. "Tell me what?" she asked slowly, staring at the both of them. Dee froze. His mouth went dry. But before he could speak, Sparkles spoke first, rubbing her stomach with pride and smiling brightly. "Tell you that I am now a part of this family. We're having a baby." "What?" Dee shouted in shock. "How? Just that once?" Sochi stepped back, confused and stunned. "Wait, Dee, you knew her?" Sparkles smiled. "Yes, he knows me in very special ways." "Oh, shut up, Sparkles," Dee yelled. He turned to Sochi. "Baby, please, I can explain. I have a very good explanation. Just give me a chance." Sochi shook her head in disbelief. "Dee, she's pregnant for you. Is that why you wanted me to fire her? Is that why you've been acting strange?" Dee held his head in shame. "It was just once. I was drunk. I swear it was a mistake. I did not even know she was pregnant." Sparkles laughed loudly. "A mistake? You lied to your wife that you were traveling to Abuja, but then checked into a hotel under the guise of just wanting to sleep. Is that one part of the mistake too?" "What?" Sochi gasped. Dee turned to Sparkles, furious. "What is wrong with you? Why are you bent on trying to destroy my life?" Sparkles replied with fire in her eyes. "What's wrong with me is that I am carrying your baby, and I won't allow you to enjoy your happy family while I suffer alone. You will take responsibility for me and this child." Suddenly, Sochi gasped loudly and grabbed her belly. A water trickled down her leg. Dee saw it and panicked. "The baby is coming." He grabbed his car keys, helped Sochi to the car, and drove like a madman straight to the hospital. Thankfully, there were no complications. The baby was born safely, a healthy, beautiful baby boy. But Sochi refused to let Dee in. She did not want to see him. She did not want him to see the baby either. She had already called her mother, who also lived in Lagos, and the woman arrived quickly at the hospital. She was happy about her grandchild, but she could tell something was wrong between her daughter and Dee. "What's going on?" she asked Sochi gently, but Sochi only shook her head. "I don't want to talk about it, Mom. Just know that I am going nowhere with Dee, now or ever. He's out of my life." Mama was deeply worried. Something serious had to be wrong for the both of them to be this way. Dee had refused to leave the hospital. He sat quietly in the hallway, waiting, hoping that Sochi would change her mind. Sochi's mother, who had always liked Dee and respected him as a responsible man, walked up to him and sat beside him. "Talk to me, Dayo. What really happened?" Dee broke down. He told her everything, and she listened quietly, not interrupting him. When he finished, she looked at him kindly and said, "Everyone makes mistakes, Dayo. You made a big one, yes, but you should have told her from the start. You let it get too far." She looked at him deeply. "And as for my daughter, I'm not saying that she's without fault in all of this, but instead of running away from home, did you consider sitting her down to explain how the way she was behaving was affecting you? Sometimes a good dialogue solves these problems." Dee wiped his tears. "What do I do now, Mama? I don't want to lose my family. I love her so much." The woman smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Go home, Dayo. Give her time. She just needs space to think. Let her rest. She'll come around." Sochi and the baby went home with her mother. Dee, heavy-hearted, returned to his house, only to find that Sparkles had moved in. Her luggage was still in the living room, and she had made herself very comfortable. "Welcome home, baby daddy," she said with a bright smile as she opened the door to let him in. Dee stood at the door staring at her. He realized that things had just got from bad to worse. "What are you still doing here?" he asked as he stepped into the living room and shut the door. Sparkles looked around, feeling surprised. "What does it look like?" "Moving into the house of my husband-to-be, of course." Dee laughed. "You have obviously lost your mind. Because what makes you think that I will marry you in this life and the next life to come? Come off it, Dee. I don't see your wife or baby anywhere around. Face it, Sochi has realized that she does not fit in here and is gone. She's never coming back." Sparkles smiled, coming closer. "Look on the bright side. You have for yourself a brand new wife and the child on the way. It's a win-win." Dee's face hardened. "It will be a very cold day in hell before I marry you. If that child you say you are carrying is mine, I will care for my child, but that will be all. Get that into your head." He paused. "Wait, how am I even sure it's mine?" Sparkles scoffed. "Oh, please. A woman knows the father of her child. You can do a DNA if you want." Dee personally took her for the tests, and not only was the pregnancy test positive, he was also 99% certified as the father of the child. It was then it truly began to dawn on him that he had gotten into a serious mess. Regardless of the results, he stood his ground. Sparkles would stay in her own apartment, and he would provide all that she needed to care for herself and the baby. Sparkles was furious. Her plans were not going as supposed, but she maintained calmness. This pregnancy was her ticket to get what she wanted. All she had to do was to be patient. She was confident that in no time, she would get him like she did the first time. Life did not remain the same for Dee. He just simply existed, threw himself into work. Most nights he cried. He missed his wife and the child he had not even set his eyes on, except for the pictures Mama usually sent to him on WhatsApp. Every single day he regretted that one weekend. One Saturday morning he woke up angry. Yes, he had made a mistake, but Sochi should at least give him a chance to explain himself. Give him a chance to set his eyes upon his own son. He got into the bathroom, took a shower, got dressed and set out to Mama's house on the mainland. Luckily for him, when he knocked the door, it was Sochi who answered. When she saw him, her face hardened. "What do you want, Dee?" "I just want to talk, Sochi. At least Hear my side of the story, he pleaded. Sochi scoffed. There's nothing to tell, Dee. He did not let her finish. He pushed past her and entered into the living room. She followed, getting ready to wage war. You cannot show up here, Dee, and bring all that attitude, she fired at him. Sit down, Sochi, he said firmly. She opened her mouth to argue, but he shut her up. I said, sit down. It's not a plea, it's an order. Sochi had never seen him that way before. She sat. Dee took the seat in front of her. I made a mistake, Sochi. You know deep in your heart that I would never, ever intentionally do anything to hurt you. I truly was supposed to go to Abuja that weekend, but then my boss called to cancel at the last hour. I had been so excited about that trip, not because I wanted to be away from you. I just wanted to sleep. Sochi laughed sarcastically. That sounds so funny. Why would you want to go on a trip just to sleep? You could always sleep at home. You sleep at home. No, I don't. He fired back. I don't get to sleep at home. Sochi looked surprised. What do you even mean by that? What do you mean by you don't sleep at home? Dee looked at her sadly. I'm sure you had no idea how different you were when you were pregnant. You wanted the weirdest things, cried about every single thing, decided that I would be the one to do everything for you, run errands, delivery, groceries, cooking, cleaning, and so on. And don't get me wrong, I was happy to do all that for us. It was truly not a big deal. I was so excited to have this baby. But it became a problem when you decided that added to all of that, I could not get a good night's sleep. It's either you want a massage in the middle of the night, or a belly rub, or a foot rub, or you were hungry and wanted to eat semolina by 1 a.m., jollof rice by 2 a.m., fresh orange juice in the middle of the night. I barely get any sleep and still have to show up at work the next day. It was telling on me and my work. When that trip was cancelled and I heard all that you had planned out for me that weekend, I knew I couldn't stay. That was why I lied. Sochi had tears in her eyes. You should have just talked to me, Dee. That's what couples do. They talk. Dee nodded. Yes, I should have. But I did not want to make you feel sad. Babe, you were very emotional and easily stimulated back then. You cried because the dog ate your biscuits. Babe, how do you think you would feel if I had told you that you were not letting me rest? There was silence for a while. Then Sochi spoke. I'm sorry, Dee. I had no idea that my attitude affected you this much. She paused. But still, it's not a reason to cheat on me. I know I did not satisfy your needs, but still, Dee. Her voice broke. Dee went to sit beside her. I did not and will never cheat on you. Sparkles came on to me acting all friendly. I told her I was married. She knew I was married. I talked about you a lot, and she did not seem like she was dangerous. She came to my room the next day with a bottle of wine. I did not want to come off as rude, so I let her in. We ordered food, talked like friends. We drank. I guess I had so much to drink because I had no idea what happened next. I woke up very early the next morning to see her right there beside me. I realized what exactly had happened. I ran home immediately, but somehow she still found me. Sochi sighed. This means that she was not only stalking you, She was also stalking me on social media. That's how she found out about the job ads," she said calmly. And Dee nodded. "Wait, Dee, how sure are you that that baby is yours?" she asked. "It's mine, unfortunately. We did a paternity test and it was confirmed that the baby is mine." Sochi took a deep breath and looked away, tears shining in her eyes. "Hey," he said, holding her hands. "Please, baby, don't let this break us apart. I already told her that I would care for her and the baby. I will be responsible for my child, but that will be all. I love you very much, Sochi. You are my world. You and our son is all that matters to me in this world. And these past few weeks without you has been terrible for me. Please, babe, I beg of you." Sochi forgave her husband and went home with him that very day. Once again, Dee was a happy man. As for Sparkles, she did not make the pregnancy's journey easy for Dee. She was infuriated when she learned that his wife had returned. Obviously, her plan was not going to be successful. She decided to torture him endlessly. She needed money every single day, called him a million times to complain of one thing or the other. It got to a point that Dee decided to stop taking her calls, but continued to send her money every time she asked. This continued for months until she decided that she had had enough. She decided that she deserved more than he was given and would demand it if need be. One morning, she carried her 2 left legs and marched to Dee's house. It was Sochi who answered the door. Who do we have here?" Sochi said, smiling. "Hello, Sparkles." Sparkles' face was tight. "I want to see Dee." Sochi frowned. "Why, if I may ask?" "This is none of your business, Sochi. It's either you go in there and call him or you move and let me get to him myself." Sochi smiled. "It is my business, young woman. You are in my house, looking for my husband. I have every right to ask you questions." Sparkles scoffed. "In case you've forgotten, I am carrying his child." Sochi's face hardened. "That's the only reason I have not beaten you black and blue. It's the only reason I haven't dealt with you. It was you who forced yourself on him, knowing he already had a wife and a child on the way. However he treats you, you brought it upon yourself." Sochi smiled coldly. "Let this be the last time you will step your feet into my compound or speak to my husband without regard, or else you will see the other side of me." She went inside and slammed the door shut. Sparkles stood there for a few minutes and really thought about her life. She realized that Dee was never going to be hers, not with a wife like Sochi. She went home, lay in her bed and cried her eyes out. That was the last time she called Dee or went to his house. A few weeks later, she had her baby, a fine baby boy, and even then she did not call Dee. One Saturday night, Sochi and Dee were getting ready for bed when the doorbell rang. Dee answered it. It was their security man, and he carried a basket on one hand and a travel box on the other hand. "What is this, Ali?" Dee asked, surprised. "Na baby o, Oga. Someone knocked on the gate. Before I reached the gate, the person has gone. But I saw this baby and the bag. I said I should bring it and show you." Dee did not need a soothsayer to tell him anything. He knew it was Sparkles. Whispering a thank you to Ali, he collected the baby and the luggage. Sochi was standing there when he shut the door. "Did you know she had given birth?" she asked quietly. Dee shook his head. "I had no idea." He carried the sleeping child out of the basket and a note fell out. Sochi collected the child while Dee went for the note. The note read, "That is your child, Dayo. I expect the sum of 5 million naira in my account by morning, or else I will come back for him and you will never see him again. I cannot lose on both sides." Sochi was surprised. "She's selling off her child like that?" Dee smiled. "What do you expect? She never cared about this child. She just wanted to use him to tie me down." Sochi became worried. "Do you think giving her the money is a good idea? What if she starts blackmailing you?" Dee shook his head. "She can't. I will sue her. I have this note and proof of every phone conversation we've had and every single penny I've sent her with a narration. Besides, she's not that intelligent. She does not stand a chance. Trust me, she's going to find another man to prey on." Dee sent her the money and he was right. Sparkles, with the baby gone, was now focused on getting her body back. It was time to move on and find another man to give her the kind of life that she deserved. Sochi took care of the two babies and breastfed them as if they were twins. Caring for the both of them at the same time was a bit of a challenge, and so they got a nanny to make things easier for them. The small family, after all they had been through, came out stronger. Put the past behind them, embraced their future, and lived together in love, happily ever after. Hey lovers, thank you for listening to this story. If you are new here, welcome to our community. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you have not done so already, please hit the subscribe button. And to support the growth of our community, give this video a big thumbs up. If you know someone who would enjoy a story like this, please do not hesitate to share. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Remember, like, share, drop a comment and subscribe. I'll take my leave now, but I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.